local people, local news and events, local sports, local matters. For all things Lloydminster area, this is Live with Kurt Price.
Well, we'd like to welcome you inside the new Lloydminster Nissan. Hope you had a great Canada Day, and it's now a very short week. Here at the new Lloydminster Nissan, you get 0% financing on most Nissan models right now. And in our service department, we want to remind you that we are open on Saturdays. So if you need an oil change or you need any kind of tire work done, that's what we focus on Saturdays. But the service department is open Saturdays from 9 to 1. Kevin McKean of McKean Roofing is here today. This is definitely the time of year that you want to be taking care of your roof. And so we've brought in an expert today to find out how you know when to replace your shingles and more. And we were just talking about yesterday on Canada Day and how that storm kind of came out of absolutely nowhere. You guys are roofing. I was out for a walk. Sounds like it caught a lot of people by surprise. So
yeah, it caught us by surprise, but we were ready and we were able to close the roof in pretty quick.
I was not. I got soaked out on my walk. Speaking of water, Superior Water specializes in nothing but water, and with over 22 years in the business, they're proud and confident that their water and their service is superior. For iron filters, water softeners, reverse osmosis distillers, chlorine removal, and H2S odor removal, give Superior Water a call. 780-875-6636, or you can stop and see them on their 57th Avenue location right beside Sheepskin Loft, and stay hydrated with pure, clean water. I drink Superior Water because I like the taste, and after all, it is Superior Water. Well, Chase the Ace is back at the Lloydminster exhibition tonight at 7:30. With it being a short week, it's easy to forget that, oh yeah, it is Wednesday today, and there are now 42 cards remaining in the deck. The jackpot expected to reach well over $40,000. There's a new winner each week, so each ticket package that is sold is now available and starts at just $10. You can get one ticket for $10, or 3 tickets for $25, 8 tickets for $50, or 20 tickets for $100. 20% of the weekly ticket sales is won by the weekly winner. 30% of the weekly ticket sales goes into the growing jackpot. That's how it continues to grow. And then 50% goes to the Lloydminster exhibition, and that has been fantastic. It's allowed them to do a lot of great things out at the Lloydminster exhibition. And that jackpot will continue to grow until the weekly winner pulls the Ace of Hearts from that deck. Well, our latest recipients of Cupcakes for Caregivers, and I say recipients because we have some wonderful ladies in ambulatory care at the Lloydminster Hospital that are the latest recipients of Cupcakes for Caregivers. There are 4 nurses who work in ambulatory care, and those are Lynn, Leona, Danielle, and Kim. And when we stopped in with Cupcakes on Monday, we were able to visit with Lynn and Leona. Lynn has 45 years experience in nursing, Leona 43, and we learned a lot about ambulatory care and how it serves our patients with saving beds in the hospital, and it saves valuable ER time as well. It started about 10 years ago, and it's been absolutely fantastic at the Lloydminster Hospital. Learned a lot about ambulatory care. So congratulations, ladies, and thank you for the great care that you give to outpatients at the Lloydminster Hospital. Cupcakes for Caregivers proudly brought to you by Sobeys Lloydminster and the Lloydminster District United Way. Have you nominated a caregiver yet? Then you should do so today. Send an email to livewithkurtprice@gmail.com. The Evolve basketball camps start on Friday and run through the weekend in the Synergy Place Gymnasium at the Lloyd Comp. There are still spaces available with 2 age groups, including for boys and girls ages 8 to 12 each morning. Trista Brewer told us that those sessions will be led by Jared Derkatz and will focus on fundamentals.
I think that's one really great thing that we've learned working with Jared is it's so easy to make it fun. Basketball is a simple game. It's an old game, but it's fun. Mm-hmm. And the more fundamental skills you have, then when you get to the higher levels, then it becomes decision making, right? And that becomes, once you have those fundamental skills, you can just use them to change angles and create more opportunity. So yeah, the younger kids we're really going to drive home those important skills that we see need more work, more time.
The cost for those camps are $150 with sessions in the afternoon for boys and girls age 13 to 17 years of age. Live with Kurt Price, Vadere Images and Forges Media are looking forward to bringing you the Lloydminster and District Co-op Parade broadcast 1 week from today. Tune in on July 9th on Facebook or YouTube to catch the parade, and thank you to all our presenting sponsors, which is the Lloydminster and District Co-op, of course, as well as help from the Gold Horse Casino and the City of Lloydminster. Hope to see you at the parade, or better yet, see you in the parade. And with the Lloydminster Parade 1 week away, we take a look back now on the parade in 2003. This is this week's Lloydminster Look Back.
The 2003 Colonial Days Parade was a huge hit this morning. Organizers say the parade is always successful, but think the Centennial played an important role this year.
We had a great theme to use, the 100 years. And a lot of the floats utilize that theme in their the build of the float, and it's great because that's one of the things we always worry about when we pick the theme. Can people relate to it, and can they in fact somehow demonstrate or relate to the theme itself? And this year it was an easy one with all the centennial celebrations.
With 130 parade entries from businesses, non-profit organizations, and other partakers, there was something to appeal to everyone.
What's your favorite part of the parade?
On the breakers.
Candy! I like the floats. I like all of it. The horses.
Why do you like the horses?
Because they're so big.
It looks wonderful, yeah, and it just started, but the floats look great. Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Hours of organization go into making the parade a success.
We usually start lining up, 7:30, 7 o'clock, something like that. There's floats that are here by then, and usually it's 9:30. We're starting to wrap her up, so should work great.
This year's grand prize winner was the entry supplied by Nelson Lumber. In addition to the many fantastic floats, were other feats to witness.
We're playing Spider-Man. It's a fun song. I think it should be enjoyable.
Those involved in the parade are pleased with the response.
I'm pretty excited. It's just great that we get such cooperation from the business people, the non-profit groups, and of course those that come from out of town, they add to our parade as well.
Linda Wilcox, NewsHour.
BioClean Disaster Services is committed, certified, reliable, and they will help you get your life back. 1-833-246-8326. Taking care of your belongings and taking care of your property is, of course, important with BioClean Disaster Services, but what really matters is taking care of you and your family. And BioClean Disaster Services is not only Lloydminster's local restoration company, they're also Lloydminster's largest restoration company. BioClean Disaster Services, 1-833-246-8326. We'll take a break, and when we come back, Kevin McKean has been waiting patiently and looking at the skies. So we will get him on and get him out of here in case he needs to run. We'll be right back here at the new Lloydminster Nissan to talk about CK McKean Roofing.
At CK McKean Roofing, they understand what it took to put that roof over your head for your family. With over 20 years of experience under their belt, they strive to show you that with their workmanship and their integrity. Not all roofing companies are created equal, and that's why CK McKean Roofing encourages you to focus on your most important investments, your home and your family. CK McKean Roofing. Roofers do it on top.
At Diamond 7 Meats, we work with local farm families to provide a high-quality product and a great selection for you. Try our mouth-watering smokies, pulled pork, roast beef, and more, made pure and natural with no additives or fillers. We offer custom processing, and our experienced team works for you to provide a selection of sausage, burgers, and jerkies made to your specifications. Take your grilling to the next level with a Yoder smoker. Complete the grilling experience with Canadian-made, award-winning line of House of Q barbecue sauces. We're locally owned and operated, and we look forward to seeing you today.
At Lloydminster and District Co-op, membership matters more. Because being part of a co-op means you're connected to something bigger than yourself. From long-held legacy by those who built our communities, to people you call family, friends, and neighbors. When you're a Lloyd Co-op member, you're an owner in a local business that prides itself on purpose alongside profit. You earn cash back, you help support causes that matter most, and you're building a better way of life for the next generation. Membership matters more.
We want to welcome you back inside the new Lloydminster Nissan. We want to welcome you to Wellings of Lloydminster and a community of ageless explorers. At Wellings, age is but a number, and adventure is always part of the day. Come experience care, freedom, living at Wellings of Lloydminster, where adults 55 plus enjoy a vibrant, stress-free way of life with a whole lot of fun. Stop in and say hello to their new general manager, Nicole, at 7211 72nd Avenue on the Alberta side. And visit wellingsoflloydminster.com for more. Wellings of Lloydminster, care, freedom, living starts here. Well, we are going to introduce you to Kevin McKean. Most people, I think, already know him. He's been in Lloyd for all of his life, and he's a roofer here in Lloydminster. We didn't start out being a roofer, so I have had Kevin do work on my house. And also, Kevin is one of our advertisers here with the new Lloydminster Nissan, so we appreciate him supporting Live with Kurt Price. And he has CK McKean Roofing, which is now becoming a family-run business. But let's start at the beginning, Kevin. Well, first of all, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for making time for us on your busy time of year here.
Perfect. It works great today.
So I mentioned you weren't always a roofer. How did you get into it?
Summer job. I had a job lined up one summer when I came home on the railroad. I made the phone call to find out my start date, and the job wasn't available anymore. So I wandered down the street, and there was a guy shingling a house, and I asked him for a job. And at that time, he wasn't hiring, so I went home and picked up the phone book and phoned another roofer, and met with him that night and started work the next day.
Okay, what makes you want to get on a roof? Like, for most people, it scares the living daylights. Like, I heard one person say, "Oh, it's not heights that scares me; it's gravity." Well, I'm scared of both, Kevin. So what? Like, you guys make it look so effortless up there.
Yeah, when I was younger, it was a little more unnerving. But I spend as much time on a roof as I do on flat ground. Not anymore, but years ago, it just became a comfortable place to be. We took family pictures on the roof, and the kids got used to being on the roof. It was just a place, we'd sit on the roof and watch the fireworks at Bud Miller when we lived in town. And so yeah, it just became a comfortable place for me to be.
What were those first years like, though, where you weren't so comfortable up there? Like,
yeah.
'cause I imagine safety wasn't like it was.
Yeah, it was a little unnerving sometimes, but it was never something that we were forced to do, right? If you're not comfortable, don't do it. It's kind of how the boss treated it, right? This is what needs to be done, but let's find a safe way to get it done. So.
Okay, so I just look at you guys and how easily you move around up there, and it amazes me. Like, I just can't imagine. Like, you're more, like you said, you take family pictures on the roof. It's like you're more confident up there than you are on the ground.
Yeah, spending 8 to 10 hours a day on a pitched roof, it becomes second nature after a while.
Okay, but there's some pretty steep roofs, so we'll get to that. But how many years now for McKean Roofing?
For the company, about 24 years, and I worked a few years before that as a summer job and for another company in town before I started on my own. So the first year I was roofing was in 1995.
So you had said you came back and you had a job lined up. What were you going to do?
Railroad.
Okay.
Out in BC.
Okay.
And when that didn't work out, and I had to get busy and find something else, Mom and Dad weren't going to pay the bills, so.
You have family that work in the railroad, or what got you into that?
My uncle had a friend that worked on the railroad, and he had kind of lined up this job for me, and it sounded like it was a sure thing, and when it wasn't, then you better find something to do.
I'm curious because my dad worked for the railroad, so.
Yeah, I just know it would have been somewhere out in BC, but exactly where, I'm not sure.
Well, could pick worst place to work, that's for sure. Okay, so over 25 years.
30.
Over 30 years.
Yeah.
But your son is taking over now too. Well, I shouldn't say taking over, working with you.
Yeah, he's working with me, and he's worked with me since he was in grade 8. So that was his summer job every summer, and now he's 24 years old. And he runs the crew, and he does many things. So it's certainly nice to work with him. We get along great, and he's really taken over.
Was that always the plan, that he would kind of become a roofer and take over?
I think it was always in the back of my mind and in his, and it was never forced on him, and he never really said for sure what he was doing, and until recently. And yeah, it makes me happy that he's there. I don't know. We get along great. We both enjoy the work. He's having great fun.
Didn't you say he wanted to be at one point? He might be a teacher or something.
He is a teacher.
He still is. So this is kind of like. Well, I guess that's a good question. How many months are you guys able to do this?
Well, as soon as the snow melts, generally we're re-shingling houses until it snows again, and then in the winter there's some new construction, some repairs, de-icing of plumbing stacks, and so there's stuff going on. And then he does some substitute teaching in the winter, as do I. So
you do some teaching too.
This last year I only did 1 day, but the year before I did maybe 15 days. So yeah, we got 2 teachers on staff, we say.
Oh yeah, yeah. So. Well, I find that fascinating, like that he loves being on the roof.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating anybody would want to be on the roof. But do you charge more for steep roofs?
Yeah, steeper roof is definitely more costly. Some safety factor and a little bit slower work.
It is. It's more time consuming.
Yeah, for sure.
How's things changed since you started 30 years ago, Kevin? How things like what's different?
Well, materials have changed for sure. You know, the shingles used to be what they call the 3-tab style of shingle, and now everything is an architectural style. You know, makes it look more like kind of like a wood shake shingle. So instead of the shingle being made with an asphalt base, it's a fiberglass base.
Oh, really? So the 3-tab shingles, like, are they still around, or they're?
There's a few, mostly used for capping, just the ridge cap.
Right.
Not real common to be used as the main protection for your roof anymore.
Okay. And you were talking about cedar. Did those were those popular when you started, cedar?
Cedar was more common years ago, and it still is, I think, in certain climates. Around here, it's very uncommon.
Why is that?
Cost. Very expensive. Expensive for the product, more labor intensive. It's not as though it's harder, it's just it's slower. So a lot more labor costs for either taking them off or putting them on.
Okay. What about safety? How has that changed?
Safety has changed as the government is starting to enforce some of the safety rules more and more every year. And
so you're just like every business, the government's sticking its nose in.
Yeah. So we got to make sure that our guys are safe and we have the proper safety gear, whether that's harnesses or a work platform. And
not so much like on roofs that aren't so steep, but if you're doing a barn or something like that.
Yeah, but basically any roof that you're on requires some safety gear.
Right.
Whether it's steep or not.
How's the equipment changed?
Well, everything now is done with, of course, air tools. Not too many guys swing a hammer and nails anymore.
Was it hammer and nails when you started 30 years ago?
No, there was air tools already then, and that's how I learned. The guy who taught me was shingling with a hammer and nails, and unbelievably fast. Best I've ever seen.
You just get used to it. And
yeah.
Thump, thump, thump. Those 3-tab nails, 3 tabs. Like I still thought they were 3-tab shingles. That's how.
It's over 10 years now, probably more than that.
Okay.
Maybe closer to 15 years that we've been working pretty much exclusively with the architectural style shingle.
Okay. Do you still have, are you still able to take more jobs this summer, Kevin? Are you guys, do you book up in the winter and then what happens?
We're always looking for more work. Yeah. Our season seems to go the same every year, where there's some work in the spring, and then July and August, sometimes the phone slows down. People are on vacation, possibly, or whatever the case is. But almost every year, it kind of slows down a little bit in July and August. And then when kids get ready to go back to school, then the phone starts ringing again.
Really?
And we get more calls in September and October than we do in July and August generally.
So I think is that from planning? Like
Maybe.
people just like, this is the year I get my roof done.
Yeah, or maybe they're on vacation and they get back and it's like, oh yeah, we forgot, we were thinking about that last year, we better get at it, kind of thing, right?
Right. What about like, for insurance purposes, like how does that work? Like how does that work with McKean Roofing?
Well, we work sometimes directly with the insurance company,
You do,
sometimes
right?
directly with the homeowner who deals with the insurance company. Sometimes we're working with a disaster restoration company who's dealing with the insurance company. So there's all kinds of different ways it works, and it's the homeowner basically has the driving force of how they want to do it, right?
Right.
Based on their policy and what their comfort level is.
So I would say the majority would just say, hey, I'm not interested in dealing with the insurance company. You be the person.
Yeah, and quite often we deal directly with their adjuster and can do that for them. And sometimes it's direct billed, and it's pretty seamless almost no matter how it's done.
So like storms like yesterday, you kind of come up out of nowhere and things like that. It's been a rainy season. Like, how's that affect your business?
Well, rain is good. Rain is a good thing. Farmers need the rain. When it rains, our phone rings too. If it never rained and people's roofs didn't leak, then the phone wouldn't ring as much. It's unfortunate if somebody gets damaged, but rain causes the phone to ring and brings more chances at doing some quotes and getting more business.
What's worse for your roof, like rain or the winter where we get so much frost around here?
Well, I think this constant freeze-thaw cycle that we have in our climate, right? So shingles are freezing. Sometimes there's ice buildup on a roof and can claw away at your shingles and reduce the life of them. And then, of course, we get extreme heat in the summer. So you're going to have plus 30 to minus 40 and just that constant cycle from year to year. And if there's ice buildup, it can make it worse.
What are you looking for? If you're looking at your roof, Kevin, you come out one day and you got a loose shingle or something, how alarmed should you be?
It depends on the age of your roof. If the shingles are curling up, they're starting to get near the end of their life. But quite often a shingle can be fixed and put back in, and we're happy to come and look at someone's roof. We offer free estimates, a free report, and we'll let you know, hey, like, does your roof need to be done or not? And we're never going to try and push someone's roof to get done if it doesn't need to be done. We want to make sure they get the most value out of the roof they have before they replace it, but also not waiting too long where they end up with damage inside.
So what do you look for? So if I'm a homeowner, what am I looking for? Like, there's certain things that are obvious. If my shingles are starting to disappear, blow off.
Yeah.
Then obviously, but there can be sneaky things too, can't there?
Yeah, well, losing some granules, curling up. These newer style shingles now won't curl as much. They're gonna, probably need a little bit closer inspection because they're gonna crack instead of curl up. So they'll still lose some granules as they get older, but not like the old asphalt style shingle did.
So if you're looking at your eaves trough and going, I got a lot of granules in here,
yeah,
you should be alarmed.
It's something to look into. Call one of the roofers in town, and we're happy to come have a look and give you a professional opinion on it.
So generally shingles last, I was always told 20 years, 25 years. Is that still the case?
Yeah, that'd be accurate. We were at a couple different factories, because there's a factory in Calgary for the shingles that we use most of the time, another factory in Edmonton. And at both factories, they don't have a lifespan on a shingle anymore as far as a 20 or a 25-year shingle. All the shingles have a limited lifetime warranty. So I asked the guy at the factory, I said, what does that mean? He says, well, the factory warranty is against manufacturer's defects. I said, well, if I shingle Kurt's roof, he wants to know how long is the roof going to last. So in both factories, they said the expected life of these shingles is 22 to 25 years, based on all weather factors and whatnot, unless there's a major storm.
Right.
That, a hailstorm or a tornado or a plow wind that would, damage the roof prematurely.
I want to talk a little bit about that, but you had said something that like those granules, I can't stop thinking about that. I can't stop thinking, like, when do you get alarmed? Like, when do you start to realize? Because how do you recognize you need before you start to get your roof leaks? You know what I mean? Like, how alarmed are you to see these granules in your?
Well, once granules start disappearing from the shingles, that's the time to start thinking about it, at least, right? And it might not mean immediate, it might mean next year or in a couple of years. But once granules start going from the shingles, they go relatively quick.
Right.
Because they're not adhering to anything else anymore, and the mat of the shingle is starting to dry out, and is going to cause more and more to fall off.
So people might think they're annoying you, Kevin, by giving you a call and saying, hey, I noticed something about my roof. Like,
no, we're happy to come have a look anytime. You know, I tell people, if you're not sure, look at your roof in the spring, look at it again in the fall. We can take some pictures, or you can take some pictures of your own roof, and see how much has it changed, and then have another look in the spring. So if you're checking it spring and fall, and you notice a big difference, then it's maybe time to start thinking about replacing the roof or having some repairs done.
Like you can see some fading sort of thing?
Fading of color, not so much.
Okay.
No, just loss of granules or curling up of some tabs.
Okay, so this show is all about local. I want to ask you about what the benefits are of using a local roofer. Like, what are the benefits of using CK McKean Roofing?
Well, we warranty all our work, and we don't have a written warranty. Never have. I'm not sure we will. But if anyone ever has had trouble with their roof, we just go back and we deal with it until it's fixed. So, whatever the case might be, you might, if there's a big windstorm and a shingle blows off, or a vent becomes damaged from wind or hail, we'll go back and deal with it. Okay.
Like 25 years, and you said that you're an inspector too?
Yeah, I've got what's called HAG certification, so I'm certified to do inspection on any pitched roof, metal, shingles. So quite often some disaster restoration companies or insurance companies will call, and we go and write up a roof report and send it off to the insurance company to let them know, hey, is there enough damage to warrant a claim, or is it maybe not enough damage and just some repairs can be done, and that might mean the homeowner is on the hook for a smaller bill, but so we go and do the inspections and submit the report.
I'd much rather deal with you than an inspector, than an insurance guy.
Well, we work with quite a few of them, so it's, and you get to have a good relationship with some of these, disaster restoration companies and adjusters and whatnot, and it's often the same people you're dealing with, so.
Well, this time of year, there's all kinds of storms, all kinds of hail coming in. So what we want to ask Kevin, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll ask Mr. McKean here about storms and preventing your shingles from getting damaged when we come back here at the new Lloydminster Nissan.
How can you help support the oil and gas industry and jobs in Western Canada? The answer is closer than you think. Sell your scrap metals to PWM Steel. PWM sells scrap iron to Evraz, located in Regina. Evraz's #1 customer is the energy sector, building pipes and plates for the oil and gas industry. PWM Steel is your locally owned metal recycler and steel service center in the area. Plus, they're a strong supporter of the community. PWM Steel, your top steel supplier for Alberta and Saskatchewan for 40 years.
At Jason Arden & Associates Cooperators, we're proud to be a top-rated local insurance company that offers flexible solutions and expert advice for all your insurance and investment needs. We'll work with you to tailor your insurance specific to your needs, and we offer investment advice that always puts you first.
At Cooperators, one of our core values is to give back to the communities that we live in. Thanks to the support of our clients in Lloydminster and area, in 2023, Jason Arden & Associates has donated $40,000 to local nonprofits, charities, students, athletes, and other special events. How does your insurance company support our community?
I'm Brian Zinchuk of PipelineOnline.ca. I used to be a pipeliner, and I've spent the last 15 years reporting on energy in Saskatchewan. PipelineOnline.ca provides comprehensive coverage of light oil, heavy oil, lithium, helium, power production including coal, wind, solar, geothermal, natural gas, and nuclear. There's a lot happening in Saskatchewan's energy sector, and Pipeline Online is there for all of it. No one else comes even close.
It's more than just taxes at L&A CPA. Assurance, accounting, retirement planning, estate planning, business consulting, financial consulting,
farm program support, and bookkeeping. But yes, there is always taxes. The team at LNA CPA is committed to helping you achieve your best results and will be there to assist you every step of the way. LNA CPA, with offices in Provost, Vermilion, and Lloydminster.
Welcome back inside the new Lloydminster Nissan. We are grateful to have the owner of CK McKean Roofing with us, Kevin McKean. We've been talking about shingles and how they've changed and how the business has changed. Kevin's been in the business for 30 years. CK McKean is very local, and there's a danger, Kevin, in waiting too long. Is there not? Like we've talked about kind of you should identify and how to identify if your roof, if you need some repairs done or even a new roof. But what's the danger in waiting too long?
Well, damage to your roof boards. So, it's relatively common to replace, a few little spots of plywood on someone's roof when we take the shingles off. Which
you guys do that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is relatively easy for us to do. If there's some major work that needs to be done, we've got some connections with some journeyman carpenters in town that'll come and either change a slope and adapt the way the roof line is to allow water to flow off a little bit better in spots where a lot of snow might sit, snow and ice, and just to change the pitch of a roof.
You've done that. How often does that happen?
Oh, a couple times a year.
Really?
Yeah, but we're set up like I don't consider myself a carpenter by any means. So set up with a couple different guys in town that'll come and give us a hand, and we just make sure we plan it in advance.
But if you're looking at wear and tear at the same spot it's happening all the time, so you realize something has to change, right?
Yeah, or spots where there's not proper flow of, like what we'd call a dead spot on the roof where a lot of snow and ice is going to sit there, and even water doesn't flow off really good. We can, change the pitch of the roof so that a little bit better flow. at this time of year, it's even dark to the west right now. So what are the what's your most common call? Hail or wind or heavy rain? Wind and rain. Hail, certain times of the year we'll get some calls for hail, and then it's generally an insurance claim coming from an adjuster or a homeowner. But blow-offs if shingles aren't installed properly, or a strong wind comes and can rip shingles off even if they are installed properly sometimes, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. You get a lot of those calls over the summer?
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty common.
More and more?
I wouldn't say more and more. It's common, and generally the cause is just improper placement of nails.
Really?
So if a nail is not placed in the right place, there's not enough leverage on the shingle, it'd blow off pretty easily.
Okay. So how big a job is too big for McKean Roofing? Like if people are building huge businesses, stuff like that, apartment buildings, stuff like that, like where do you guys kind of draw your line?
I don't think we've drawn a line, really. We've done some massive apartment complexes in town, both from new construction as well as re-roofing. So yeah, I don't think we really have a line that we've drawn of how big of a job we would do. Sometimes it might mean working with some extra guys or another company to team up and tackle a large project. But, yeah, we've done some 1,500 bundle jobs, and
same benefits to using local then.
Yeah, because we're gonna warranty it, no matter if it's your shed or an apartment complex.
You guys do some sheds too?
Got one going on today. Yeah,
do you?
Yeah, we did a couple sheds.
Like you do the roof and then the shed for?
Yeah, that's what we're doing for this family today.
I can see that being pretty common.
A couple blocks from here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did a couple sheds for a gentleman, and just west of the airport here the other day. So, what are some of the bigger jobs you've done? Like, because I looked on your website and I saw a church that you guys did, and we have some pictures of it, but it looks to me like that church, like for one thing, it's very, very steep, but it's huge too. Yeah, I can't remember the size of that church, but it was over 100 years old. Had a couple layers of shingles on it. asphalt shingles on top of cedar shingles. And when it all came off, the roof was in fantastic shape, and we installed new shingles on it. It's up on a hill south of Macklin, St. Donatus Church. In fact, it's where my in-laws were married, so it was nice to be part of that project and see it rejuvenated.
Is that one of your favorite jobs? Like, what are your favorite jobs?
Favorite jobs? Oh my gosh, that one kind of sticks in my memory, I think, quite a bit. I wasn't able to be on the roof for that job. I was dealing with an injury at the time, but yeah, that would be one of my favorites, I would certainly say. And you know, sometimes it's nice to do a job for someone you know, right? When you can sit and visit with them either during or after the job, and you know, just have a nice conversation and a visit and reminisce.
How do you get in touch with McKean Roofing?
Well, more and more ways now. It used to be it was just a phone call, right? The only way to reach somebody was to call their business phone, and now we get calls to my cell phone and calls to Jaden's, my son's cell phone, and Facebook. We have a landing page that we had built this winter that's and some new technology for how we're doing all our quoting and invoicing, so we get lots of contact that way too. And sometimes we don't get a phone call. There's just we go and check our page, and someone's got their address there, and you wander over and do the quote.
Well, technology is just changing everything, eh?
Yeah, there's just so many ways, and sometimes it's, you know, a little bit overwhelming to see all the different ways that someone's getting in contact with the business, and you don't want to miss any opportunity at, you know, getting a quote and having another job. So you really got to be paying more and more attention, I find.
Technology has changed, but you know what I see more and more of is like a blue house with blue shingles. Like, how do you, like, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Like, is that something you kind of talk to the homeowner about? I think this shingle would look good. How do you decide?
Sometimes I do, yeah. So we have a few different ways to get samples to people. So of course, digital. We can send just a link to a website, and then they see a small little swatch on a web page.
Yeah.
And then we also have hard samples that would be, you know, the size of a couple shingles. And if they narrow it down to a couple colors, then we drop off some hard samples, and they can, you know, lay them against the side of the house and see how it fits with their siding and their trim and whatnot to say, oh yeah, okay, I like this, or I don't like that. I thought I was going to like it. And so, yeah, dropping off samples at someone's home is very common.
How common is this? What's the cheapest? Do you get that?
No, not really.
You don't, eh?
No, not so much. You know, everyone's looking to, you know, they want to have a quality roof, for sure. And, you know, sometimes we might be the cheapest quote, and sometimes we're not. You know, we just got to make sure that we're doing quality work, and, you know, make sure the customer's happy with what they're going to have in the end. Because if they're going to save some money and not have a good product, then they're not going to be happy. There's, you know, an old saying, we can do it fast, we can do it good, we can do it cheap.
Right.
Pick two of the three. If it's fast and good, it's not going to be cheap.
Right. Right.
Just take one of those things out. So it can't be fast and good and cheap.
Well, like in your business, like repeat customers would be so important, but so far down the road, hey? Like, yeah,
and you know, depending on circumstances, because sometimes a few years later you're redoing it because of a hailstorm.
Right.
For instance, Macklin had a massive hailstorm, you know, over 20 years ago, and then 4 or 5 years ago they had another one. So a lot of the houses we did down there, we did for like 15 years later or 20 years later, whatever it was. So sometimes repeat customers aren't because they want it done, it's a necessity. And then other times, you know, I've been in it long enough now where we've reshingled houses just because we did them and now they've worn out.
Because it's 30 years later.
Yeah.
What is your coverage area? How far do you guys travel?
Jeepers, we go, you know, we generally say an hour, but we go a lot further than that too. We were up at Goodsoil the other day. You know, people in town that we did their house, if they got a cabin at Lac des Isles, well, we're going to go up there and do it. We were down to Major, south of, you know, roughly 2 hours south of here.
Yeah, that's a long ways away.
So, yeah. You know, that's not real common for us. We do a lot of work, you know, Turtle Lake, Bright Sand Lake, you know, north on the Alberta side, Fishing Lake Métis settlement. We've done a lot of work up there in the last few years, and And so yeah, that's been a great partnership with us and fantastic community.
Typical house, how long would it take you to shingle?
Depending on size, if it's just a little house with no garage, 3-4 hours. But a standard house with a garage, we do it in a day, and sometimes in the morning, depending on amount of guys on the crew and how many peaks and valleys.
Do 2 houses a day sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, if they're little houses, and depending on the weather and just what we did the previous day. If we had a long day the previous day, and it might mean we want to have a short day the next day, and so sometimes it might be 2 one day, 1 the next, or one job one day, and if you don't get home till 11 o'clock at night, then you might not do anything the next day. Might not feel like doing anything the next day.
So I often used to bug Mike Sidoric when he was at the exhibition that I didn't realize the manager was going to have to become a meteorologist. Have you become a little bit of a meteorologist as well?
It seems nonstop, right? And I look at 2 different weather forecasts, and then I'm trying to extrapolate between the 2. And then, of course, the other guys are watching the weather, and so everyone's kind of paying attention to the weather, and the homeowner's looking at the weather, and so the conversation is happening between a few people sometimes to see what's going to happen with the weather and whether or not you're going to tackle a job for the day or how much of it you're going to do.
Decide when to shut it down.
Yeah, like I think I watch the weather like a farmer, right? Farmers are very dependent on the weather, and so are we, because if you get caught, you could cause a lot of damage to someone's home.
So, to me, the roofing, in the summer, everybody's out enjoying it. You guys are working.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
How many people do you have on your crew, and is it our guys well, I want to take a week off, and you're like, well, it's go right now.
Yeah, but we want to live too. Guys want to spend some time at the lake with their friends and their family. So if someone leaves and goes away for an extended long weekend, as long as there's a little bit of notice, yeah, we all take a little bit of time in the summer here and there for, whether it's a camping trip or a fishing trip or.
So you'll generally try to do weekdays?
Well, yeah, we generally try to work during the week, the odd weekend here and there if there's enough guys that want to work and we can get a job done. And if guys are taking time off, they try to work it around a weekend most times. And of course, there's things going on where they've got a birthday party or a graduation or something. They need a day in the middle of the week. And yeah, we work together on it. And
do you get calls, and do you get people going to the landing? Well, the landing page is fairly new, but in the winter,
Yeah, people have, over the last few years especially, people have started calling in January, February, looking for quotes because they're thinking about their roof in the spring.
Right.
So that's been nice.
And estimates are free.
Estimates are free. We travel all over to give estimates, and never charge. Some people like to give the measurements and some pictures and whatnot and ask for a quote over the phone, which I always hesitant to do. I really want to go, be on the roof, check for rotten roof boards, possibly 2 layers of shingles. I want to know all the factors involved with the roof so I can give an accurate quote and, not be increasing the price after the fact if we can avoid that.
They still do that? You still do 2 layers of shingles?
It's not as common. Not as common, but yeah.
But it used to be really common, didn't it?
Yeah, or there'll be cedar shingles on top of asphalt shingles sometimes, which is definitely not fun.
Right, right.
But yeah, it still happens every now and then.
Yeah, stripping those cedar shingles takes a long time.
Yeah, it's a slow process, and packing them away to the landfill is time consuming as well. So.
Oh, landfill for cedar shingles. Oh, that happens, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or some people will keep a few and use them for firewood and whatnot, right? Kindling and.
Yeah. What am I forgetting, Kevin? What am I forgetting about roofing?
I don't know. I could talk about roofing all day. I just, someone said find something you're passionate about and you never have to work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Well, if someone told me that I would be passionate about roofing 25 years ago, I would have told them they're crazy. But it's something that I really love. I enjoy it. I enjoy the work with my son and with the guys that work for us now and that have worked for us in the past, and and even other companies in town that we know and are friends with. And I don't know, I'm passionate about roofing. Which sounds strange to me, even when I say it, but
you can actually look back and once you're done the day, especially with shingles, things look incredibly different.
Yeah.
It makes a house look brand new so often.
Yeah, especially if there's a color change, or maybe the customer is also changing siding or some other parts of their house, and it gives a whole new look. And
yeah, but there's a sense of pride with you that it is a family-owned business too.
Absolutely.
Family-run and local.
Yeah.
I know how important that is too.
Yeah, because both my other younger son works with us some summers as well, and he's gone away to school now and doing an apprenticeship in a different trade. But nice to have him back every now and then when he's home for a couple days. And he worked with us yesterday, and now he's back to his apprenticeship job. So it's nice to work with my kids and and in-laws and
Yeah. Anything else? Anything? I don't want to cut you short. Are we forgetting anything?
Not that I can think of right now.
All right.
Yeah.
But easy to find the website too.
Yep.
Google and you'll find it.
Yeah, it's
That
Google
easy.
Google Roofing in Lloydminster or CK McKean Roofing, and you'll be able to find us pretty easily.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Thanks for your time, Kurt.
Yep. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Kagan Dean is going to join us, and we're going to be talking about running for shelter, which is kind of different this year than it was last year, but once again will benefit the men's shelter.